Welcome to the House Edge Sports Network, the pulse of youth sports.
What's up, everybody? Tyler McLaren here from the HESN podcast, episode 2, another football show coming right at you. I'm glad you guys are here with us for episode 2. Today we're going to have a special guest on, a great guy, someone who's been involved with football in the local community for over 15 years, been involved with the sport his whole life. His kids coach and play right now. Dan Lachance, he's the president of the Kanata Knights for the last 5 years. As I said, been involved with them for over 15 years. He's a great guy. He's a great ambassador for the sport of football. He's been a supporter of what we're doing with HESN and NCAFA.tv over the last 5 years. So he's a good friend of ours and a great person to be associated with the sport of football. So we're excited. We're going to have a good chat with him about the Mosquito Madness Friday Night Tykes, a little bit about what to expect from the Kanata Knights this year, so you guys can look forward to that coming up shortly here on episode 2 of the HESN podcast, another episode of a football show here. But before we got going, I just wanted to give a couple shout-outs to some local football teams who have had some success recently at the OVFL. The Myers Riders, Bantam and Junior Varsity teams both took home the OVFL championship this year, so congratulations to them. Obviously, the Myers Riders have been one of the most successful OVFL franchises since the league has come to fruition 15 years ago or whatever it might be. Like you'll hear Dan and I talk about on a later date, and like many of us talk about, we believe that the success of both OVFL teams, Myers Riders and the Cumberland Panthers, and is really related to the success of NCAFA. When you have an organization which is the largest amateur football association in the entire country of Canada, pumping out so many players at specific age groups, that's how you can get so many great football players that understand the fundamentals of the sport. They know each other, they've competed against or with each other at multiple levels, and when they form their teams together and they play against other teams in Ontario, they're usually able to put all together, become extremely successful, and like the Myers Riders have shown, win championships. So congratulations to them once again on another successful OVFL season on the junior varsity and the Bantam teams of the Myers Riders. The other point I wanted to talk about today was about the Red Blacks, where they're at this so far this year, and a little bit about the fiasco, quote-unquote fiasco, that Henry Burris had at halftime and after the game, sort of calling out the media and the Ottawa media and the TSN panel specifically. Obviously, the Red Blacks have been having a great year so far this year. Trevor Harris coming in for an injured Henry Burris, playing super good, really showing why Ottawa chose him as the successor to Henry Burris. We obviously didn't think that he would be playing so quickly, but the fact that we were able to see how good he can be, follow the offense, be the best passer in the CFL before he got injured, is reassuring that we have something great for the future. Now, in regards to Henry Burris, I think it's a little bit overblown, the negativity. I don't think what he did was something you'd want your quarterback to do. Like, if you could actually control what a human being can do, you don't want your quarterback to tell the camera to shove it to the TSN panel. But at the same token, I do think there's some legitimacy to his frustrations. Now, Henry Burris has been in the CFL for over 15 years. He's played for 4 different teams, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He's taken, I believe, all of them to the Grey Cup. He's won 1 Grey Cup with Calgary, lost a Grey Cup with Hamilton. I believe he lost a Grey Cup with Saskatchewan, but don't quote me on that. And he lost a Grey Cup with Ottawa. He has been one of the great quarterbacks in the history of the CFL, arguably a top 10 quarterback in the history of the CFL. He turned around the Ottawa Red Blacks. Okay, he was instrumental in the success of the team last year. He was instrumental in keeping it all together after a really difficult first year. He took Hamilton to a Grey Cup where they did not expect to make it. So I think that, he has had a lot of success in this league. He got injured week 1. Trevor Harris came in and played unbelievable. Played better than anybody in the league has played this year. Now, Henry Burris has to come back a little early because Trevor Harris got injured. But the media seem to forget, in my opinion, that Henry Burris has had such an important role in the success of the Ottawa Redblacks. They're asking him questions. Are you worried? Is everything okay? Are you going to be able to be focused? Like, listen, don't worry about how bad he played against Toronto. He didn't play great. He had a disappointing game. We still almost won the football game. It took the other team's kicker to have one of the great games a kicker could ever have to get the victory. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't perfect for Henry Burris. He admitted he didn't play well. That should have been the end of it. Everyone should have said he's rusty. He still has a finger injury. He came back early. Give the guy some credit for coming back early. But you know what those guys did? And I heard it all on the radio too. They were all over him. Okay? They were really trying to throw him a bit under the bus. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I don't think Henry Burris really deserves to be thrown under the bus at this point. He had one bad game. In that game, we just lost because their kicker was on fire. And after that game, all week, he was getting roasted. And I did think it was a little bit disrespectful, and I did think it was a little uncalled for by the media at all levels. Now, myself, I work at HESN. I guess I'm in the media, quote unquote, I'm in the media, but I didn't disagree with the theory of Henry Burris going nuts on the camera. I don't necessarily agree with exactly what he said or how he said it or when he said it. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, because he's done so much for the city of Ottawa, for football in the city of Ottawa, and because he's such a veteran of the league. I thought it was okay. I like that he was fired up, and I'm not going to hold it against him. And we'll just leave it at that in regards to Henry Burris. The bigger question I think that we all should be talking about is not whether or not Henry Burris was being selfish or should he have said it at the time. I think the bigger question is, when Trevor Harris is healthy, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Redblacks? In my opinion, I think Trevor Harris should get the ball. The reason I believe that Trevor Harris should get the ball is because Trevor Harris was the best quarterback in the CFL this season before he did get injured. And if he didn't get injured, he would still be playing quarterback for the Ottawa Redblacks. I know that sort of is counterpoint to what I was just saying about Henry Burris being so instrumental and all that such, but you got to put the best guy in. That's my 2 cents. I'd love to get everyone else's feedback. So in the comment section or the on Twitter, Facebook, you guys I want to hear your guys' 2 cents. Who should start, Henry Burris or Trevor Harris when he gets back from injury? Now, enough about Henry Burris and the Redblacks and all that stuff. Let's talk about NCAFA. The season is upon us. We just had Friday Night Tykes last weekend, Mosquito Madness, which is a tradition in NCAFA that's unlike anything else in the city, I think, in the city of any amateur sports. It's a great showcase for the youngest athletes in the sport that we play. It's a great opportunity for parents and coaches alike to get together, see each other, see all the players, get the equipment on for the first time, and really see if there's any gems out there that maybe will be great football players one day. So we, like I mentioned earlier, Dan Lachance, you're about to listen to the interview that I had with him. It was a great interview. He has a lot to offer the city. He has a lot to say, and I really believe what he has to say is really important. So I want everyone to pay attention, listen to what Dan Lachance has to say. He's a great man. He's a great coach, doing great things at the Kanata Knights. And we're going to be releasing some great videos about the Friday Night Tykes and the Mosquito Madness coming out, either out right now or coming out very, very shortly. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. And without further ado, here is Dan Lachance. I'm glad to be joined right now by Dan Lachance. He is the president of the Kanata Knights Football Club in NCAFA. He has coached and been involved with the Kanata Knights for over 15 years. He's been the president for the last 5 years, and he's coached Bantam at the OVFL level. He's coached high school and also multiple levels in NCAFA. I want to welcome Dan Lachance to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, man.
So today we wanted to just talk about a few things that you've been involved with recently, and we're going to start with the Friday Night Tykes and the Mosquito Madness. I want to get your opinion about why you think this is such an important event and why it's always such a successful thing since you have been the one taking charge and running it.
Well, we started, Friday Night Tykes has been around for a long time, Mosquito Madness, but we spearheaded Friday Night Tykes for the last about 5 years now. Since I've been the president, I've wanted to take it on as a project. For me, it's a very important level. The Tykes, the growth of NCAFA, the growth of football, brings the kids into a game that, is dear to my heart. But it also brings a knowledge to the people to let them know that it's a very safe sport, as much as, people think that it's not safe. NCAFA and all the clubs in the city really spend a lot of money making sure that the kids are well equipped, well prepared, well coached, and the kids just get a lot more out of football than they do out of any other sport. So it's the best thing going for any kind of sport, for any kind of family listening to wanting to get involved with football.
I completely agree there. I'll just jump in quickly because, I played NCAFA for over 12 years, and I remember the first jamboree that we had. It was at Terry Fox Field, and basically it was all the clubs, it was in Mosquito. I think this was the origination of the Mosquito Madness, but basically we went to Terry Fox in the summer, and we all got together, and we played basically that half where you just sort of do 10 minutes on offense, and you reload every time you score or don't score, and it was a great way, like you just said, to introduce multiple players who maybe haven't played football, let parents see what the system is, how it all works, the equipment, get comfortable with it. It's a very great way to introduce the sport to a wider range of people, including new parents and new kids. And I think I completely agree with you. It's such an important thing to let people know that at that age especially, football is not a dangerous sport, and using a showcase like Mosquito Madness and Friday Night Tykes is a great way to do it.
Absolutely, and there's nothing better to see people come out to Friday Night Tykes, because that's for the most part. That's the first level for kids to play, so that's where the new generation parents and kids are coming out on, and to see them come out, and this is the first time that they get to see their little guy. And even girls. There's been some girls in the past that have been done very well with tackle football program. You can see the smiles on the parents and stuff like that. But what really gets me is when you're sitting in the middle of this. When I do the Friday Night Tykes and I get the kids all pumped up, ready to go, and everything else, and you look in their faces, and the smile is from ear to ear, and they just can't wait. They're wearing a uniform, they're wearing all that stuff, and you see some of the kids with swag on it at 8, 9, 10 years old. It's priceless. And this is the first opportunity they get to actually see what they've been practicing and where it's going. And a couple of weeks later, they start playing in games. So it's a good evaluation thing for the coaches to see where they sort of slot in the city, and what they need to work on, what they need to get better at, and what they need to just drop because it's not working. So it's such a fun day. And this year we had the privilege to host the. We call it the Friday Night Tykes, but we no longer do it on Friday nights anymore because of the Red Blacks. But we did everything on Sunday now. That we did the Friday Night Tykes in the morning, and then we did the Mosquito Madness Jamboree in the afternoon. And it was a tremendous hit. We had pretty much every club participated in the programs. The kids got out, they played, and they ate. They had. I talked to a bunch of kids after the day, and they just loved it. The experience alone, and the parents and the players and the coaches, it's just an outstanding day. I agree. Last year when, if you remember, we were videotaping it with HESN, and just the response we got from that particular video, we get good response from most of the products that we do, but the response and we got emails, and we got fan feedback, we got parental feedback, we got kids emailing us about wanting highlights. The response we got from the video that we did from the Friday Night Tykes and the Mosquito Madness day from last year, we have over 5,000 views on that particular video. Now, I know that's not tons compared to lots of these YouTube videos, but when we release around 70 to 100 videos a year, and that was our number one playing video last year, was the one where we had you getting the kids riled up, all the kids clapping, we had slow motion video, we were right in there, and the kids loved watching it. The parents loved watching it. Football's such a great game, and like you said, it's an amazing showcase for the sport. And the job that you do, and your organization, your volunteers, and everyone else that supports you in the club, you guys do such a fantastic job. I think there should be much more press and much more support from the city for this initiative, because I think it's a wonderful thing, and you guys don't obviously get the credit you guys deserve, and that's why we're trying to give you guys a little bit of the spotlight here today. Perfect. Well, we appreciate it. I'll tell you that the team that I have, my executives and my members and stuff like that for Kanata. But the shout out that this is a day that you can't do without a proper group of volunteers. We had 36 kids, 36 volunteers helping us out at the this weekend's jamboree, if you want to call it. And I'll tell you, I have one tremendous staff. The people are volunteering, and we're there at 7 in the morning till 7 at night, and just getting this thing organized to make this as much of an experience and at the same time as much of a great day for all the clubs in the city and for our clubs. And again, it's to showcase the clubs too, right? So we take pride in what we want to do, and we try to do the best job we can by giving the best, put the best product on the field for everybody, and we absolutely enjoyed it. It's just we were tired.
Yeah, I believe it.
But you know what? Oh man, I'll tell you, we were tired. But you know what? I'm sure that if I asked my exec, are we willing to do this again next year, they would just say absolutely. And for me, I think we have the one of the best fields for it because the way we have it laid out. I love the idea of having the Tykes and Mosquitoes play in the one day. So, multiple parents have kids at Tyke and kids at Mosquito. They don't have to go away. I had people tell me they love the idea that it's not a whole weekend thing. It's a one-day event. And, it's just something that we have to do. But you're absolutely right, Steve. The city's got to get a little bit better involved. I had Councilman Hoopley at our field the other day, and we were talking about it. And I said, just little points. This is the largest football event in Canada, and to have this kind of thing and host this thing in the city of Kanata is a big thing for him. But at the same time, we need to do more for football. We need to have more for these kids. I feel that other sports benefit because of their pocketbooks, and we're the ones paying for it. There's not a sport out there that equips the kids the way we equip kids. If hockey did this, God, could you imagine what it would cost?
No, I couldn't imagine. It would be ridiculous.
And that's the thing. If parents had to pay for all their football equipment, and every year they had to buy new shoulder pads or a new helmet every couple of years, it would be an unaffordable sport to play. And if it wasn't for people like clubs like ours that we have in Ottawa, this would not be possible for kids to do. And this is something that the city's got to help us out more, and we have to do a better job at I guess rounding up the city to be more supportive to what we do.
And, we agree 100% coming from the perspective of House Edge Sports Network, and we've been trying to work with the league, and we feel that with the help of the league and with the help of the clubs and with what we're doing, we think that we've laid the groundwork over the last 5 years to really start to really showcase really what we have in the city of Ottawa, which is, I think, still the largest amateur football association in the entire country, if I'm not mistaken. And you guys do a great job. We all do a great job. Now, speaking about that, based on your experience being 15 years at Kanata, what's the state of football in Canada and in Ottawa at this moment?
I honestly don't believe it with all the stuff that's going on with football and everything else and concussions and everything and the training that we've gone 15 years ago. We weren't training our coaches the way we are now. We weren't certifying coaches the way we are now. We weren't taking as much concern in the concussions and all the injuries and the tapings and everything else that we do. So I feel that we've come leaps and bounds in the last several years. We're doing a lot better. And it's something that we're trying to accomplish, and we're doing a better job at it. But it's I don't feel that personally, I don't think football is coming down yet. I think we're still holding on. The parents and stuff like that. Our enrollment at Kanata this year is right up there. We're probably at about 96, 97%.
That's great news.
Of capacity. Yeah, and you know what? It's just something that I think it's come a long way. I think the sport has come a long way now that the Red Blacks, now that the universities are in town. The Sooners and the Ottawa Sooners are here now. There's so much high-end football in the city that the kids want to get involved and the kids want to play this sport. So I think that's where it's going. But do I fear a future as a sport? I do fear the sport. I fear that the people above when we talk about the OFA, the Ontario Football Association, the Canadian Football Association, some of these people are making decisions based on university levels, and they're going to affect youth football and how we do it. And I think we speak for ourselves and how we run our programs, but we can't speak for the people in other provinces or in other places, in other leagues. I think NCAFA does a heck of a job on making sure that we do it the right way and we enforce it the right way. And I think that's why we have such a good league. And people look up to our league and they say, you know what, that's a well-done league. We should take more precedence of doing it that way. So I'm hoping. My fingers are crossed that football is here to stay and not something that, you know what, in 2 or 3 years or 5 years down the road, we feel it dwindling down. But that won't be from a lack of not trying from our end.
I agree 100%. And I think that, like, more and more when you analyze sort of how successful the OVFL teams from Ottawa are, how successful football players that come through the NCAFA system, that really play the full system, that go through Tyke Mosquito, Pee Wee, Bantam, sometimes Midget, OVFL, then go on to Sooners or CIS or NCAA even, the fundamentals that these kids have, the level of coaching that they have, the fact that they've been through so many situations on the football field, they have the experience, and I think that you cannot match that in the entire country when it comes to an organization. I think, like you said, NCAFA does a great job. Now, we're going to talk a little bit right now about sort of the outlook for the Kanata Knights. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, you had 2 teams in the A-Cup final.
Correct.
And that was at Pee Wee and at Tyke. Okay, so now were those mature Tyke and Pee Wee teams, or were those young Tyke and Mosquito Pee Wee teams?
You know what? I think our Tyke team last year was mature. I think we had out of the 30 kids that we had on the roster, I think there was about if I'm not mistaken, I think there was 12 or 14 that were moving up to Mosquito this year. We had a lot of 8-year-olds. I believe that this year we are still on the cusp of being young. What I try to work with my head coaches and stuff like that is I try to balance out. For me at Kanata Knights, and it's always been my policy even when I was a head coach, I really don't care if I win or lose at the end of the day. And sometimes parents, they look at you kind of funny. And my objective, and this is coming back from my mentor, Bob Barr, he used to say back years ago when I was coaching under him, you want to play 11 games in the year and you want to win the 11th game. It doesn't really matter what happens from game 1 to game 8. You just want to win the 11th game, and that's your championship game. That's the most important thing, is get the kids to play as many games as possible during the season. Win or lose, it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't matter. It's, at the end of the day, it's a sport. It's not a job. It's not a career. It's a sport, and it's to get the kids out. And if we all take the same view that we're not, we don't have to get up on every day and play, Grey Cup Sunday. It would make the sport better. I mean, there's teams out there, unfortunately, that just like to, unfortunately beat up on other teams because they can, and that's where we kind of lose out on it. I mean, that's always been my policy every time I've coached, and I've been a head coach and everything else. I used to say to the kids, I really don't care if we win on Saturday. It doesn't matter to me if I win or lose. All I want to do is make sure that you guys enjoy yourself, and the fact that you guys get better week in, week out. We get better, and let's strive to make to the playoffs, and let's win to the playoffs, and then win to the 11th game. And you know what? Hopefully, we win to the 11th game, and that's it.
And yeah. Go ahead.
That's always been my policy, and that comes back from back when Bob Barr used to talk about it all the time, and he used to say the same thing. And Bob Barr, last year we retired Bob Barr with 33 years of service with Kanata Knights. He's been around. So he's been around a long time, and you know what? I mean, the man is very well respected, and he's involved with the Sooners, helping out the Sooners levels now, and with his son. And that's what football is about. I mean, it shouldn't be about the win and lose and stuff like that. It should be about how we mentor these kids into being young men to grow up to be, people that are playing at the higher levels, and the kids. And there's nothing better to see a kid that you've coached back when he was 8, 9, 10 years old, and all of a sudden he's at university, playing football in university, or playing football for the in the pros. To me, that's what's important. It's not about the win and lose on Saturday afternoon.
And that is what is important. And what I've been trying, whenever I speak to parents or coaches from all the organizations, I really try to reiterate the fact that when a kid from any team from NCAFA, whether it be the Cumberland Panthers, the Bengals, the Knights, whatever the teams are, that there's successful players playing at the next level, whether that next level be the Sooners or the Ottawa GGs or the Carleton Ravens or UBC or Laval, or they end up going to NCAA, or they do make it to the CFL or the NFL. We all should take pride in that, because without a league and without good competition, there would be no great kids. And if everybody took the mentality that you're preaching right here, which is exactly the way that we all should be thinking, we would see more success. Instead of worrying about being the best at Mosquito, let's worry about making sure that that Mosquito player is ready to move up to Pee Wee. And when he's done Pee Wee, let's make sure he's ready to move up to Bantam. And if we always look at the objectives from basically saying, like you said, it's the progression, let's make sure the kids are getting better. Let's make sure when their time to move up is their time to move up, they're ready. And what I've seen more and more going forward is with the resurgence of the Red Blacks and the Carleton Ravens specifically coming back to town, more and more people are willing to look at the bigger picture, understanding that there are avenues out there that isn't explicitly NFL or NCAA. And that, to me, is the big thing. If we all can work together to make sure these kids are bettering their lives through sport, and in this case, football, why wouldn't we be celebrating somebody like Brandon Galanders, who's made it all the way to the CFL? What a great success story. Just because he didn't play in the NFL or NCAA doesn't mean he's not any less of a success than somebody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even with us, we always look at it and say, if a kid plays through NCAFA and played for whatever club it may be, not even the Knights, and gets it to the next level, we feel that we're all part of that. We're all part of that kid's growth to get to the next level, to get to university, because without NCAFA, he may never have gotten that opportunity. And that's what makes this league so special. And that's what it is. It doesn't matter who they play for. We encourage the kids that, and we support the kids that made it to the next level. Connor Williams is playing for the Red Blacks, played for the Kanata Knights.
There we go.
For years and years and years, But everybody in Ottawa, everybody who was part of NCAFA is part of making Connor get to where he got. It's Connor's hard work for sure that got him there, and his talent. But without NCAFA, he may never have played football, and he may never have played for his chances of playing for the Red Blacks might have been limited there. And that's the difference. It's what we bring from the beginning to the end. It should be what we look at.
So with all that being said, we've had the year's basically kicked off. The Friday Night Tykes and the Mosquito Madness is sort of the official sort of kickoff for the season every year. OVFL has all wrapped up. So the kids, and it's great this year because the OVFL ended earlier because they limited the amount of playoff teams, which I think in my mind was a good thing for NAAFA, because there's going to be more time for kids to heal, more time for kids to make a sound decision whether they want to play football in the fall, more time to rest, more time to get more practice in. So NAAFA starts on the weekend of the 27th, if I'm not mistaken. So what are some of the things that you're looking forward to for the Kanata Knights this year in NAAFA?
Well, as I said, my message to all my coaches has always been the same thing. Like I said, I don't really care where we fall into the win and loss columns. My objective is to get these kids as many game days as possible. I'm very strong when it comes to equal play time versus minimum play time. I want the kids, if they're going to be part of the Kanata Knights, I want them to be part of the Kanata Knights. I don't want them sitting on a bench and waiting, and saying, well, I play my 3 downs or 4 downs per half. And, that's what I get out of it. I want the kids to be, enjoy themselves, learn the game, try to get the coaches as much help as possible, the equipment. Just looking for a great season, just looking to be able to watch these kids grow. It's just something special. Yesterday or on Sunday when we had the Mosquito Madness and Friday Night Tykes, we had the Ottawa Sooners there. And there was a bunch of Ottawa Sooners that were there that played for multiple different clubs, and they were walking around, and you look at these kids, and you're going, these kids are 20, 21, 22 years old, 23 years old, and I'm looking at some of these young kids, and I'm going, these kids here right now, that's their future right there, and it's impressive when you see that. Kanata Knights has probably close to a dozen kids that are playing on the Ottawa Sooners team that play through the Kanata Knights.
And also the coaching staff from the Sooners comes from the Kanata Knights as well, if I'm not mistaken.
The head coach.
The head coach. The head coach of the new head coach was an ex-Kanata Knights coach.
Yeah, so it's not to be mistaken that it's a coaching staff based on from the Kanata Knights. No, that's not true.
No, they have an eclectic mix of coaches from all over the city. I know that for a fact, which is a great thing to see, because all those people are going to have specific groups of kids and knowledge that they're going to be able to bring together to make a successful Sooners team.
Absolutely, and I expect to see amazing things from that team this year because of that. And you know what? And you're right, Tyler. It comes from the basis of NCAFA. It comes from that, and that's why OVFL, that's why the kids that play in the OVFL for Myers Riders and the Cumberland Panthers are so strong, and we go to Ontario and we compete and we win year in year out, or we get a championship. It's either Cumberland or it's Myers Riders for the most part that are at the championship year after year. Why? Because of the product that we're putting on the field, the product, the knowledge, that the coaching staffs that we have, the people that are involved in our football club, is what makes it what it is. And this league of coaches and this league of players is phenomenal.
And whenever I talk to coaches from other teams in the OVFL, whether it be from Essex or London or multiple teams from the Toronto area, the GTA, they always talk about how, Ottawa, they only have 2 teams and a huge population base, blah, blah, blah. But what they don't understand is the reason, just like what you said, the reason why Myers and Cumberland are so strong is because most of these kids that are playing Bantam or JV have probably 5 or 6 years or more under their belt already. In many of these cities around Ontario, the kids playing Bantam or JV football might have 2 or 3 years of experience. And those fundamentals, understanding the small intricacies of the sport that are taught in NCAFA because of the wonderful leadership we've had for years and the wonderful coaches and guys like you who make sure that kids get fair playing time and all these types of things. That's why the teams are successful. It's not because of our population base. It's not because of anything special. It's because of NCAFA. And I think you hit the nail on the head. With that being said, that's why we're so strong in the OVFL.
Yep.
That's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what makes the difference right there. It's the way we run this league.
Well, Dan, I want to thank you for coming on the HESN podcast, episode 2. You've always been a big supporter of what HESN and NCAFA.tv is doing, and we want to thank you publicly for your support throughout this whole time. So we really appreciate that. We're looking forward to building a future together, and we're really excited for what Kanata Knights have in store this year, and we look forward to seeing you around the football field on the weekends.
No, perfect, guys. I mean, I'm a big supporter of you guys, and you know what? You guys put out, again, a quality product for what we need to have, and without people like yourself doing what we do, it's hard to reach out to outside the Ottawa area. People are looking at, in the other provinces or in the States, this is the one thing that they can look at. They can look at HESN and say, wow, look at what they're putting out there and stuff like that. So without a group of people like you guys definitely help us get to the next echelon of what we do in our sport. So I thank you guys for all the work you guys do and stuff like that. So
right back at you, Coach. Yeah, same with us. And we look forward to seeing you around the football field. And thanks for taking up some of your evening and talking with us on the HESN podcast. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon, Coach.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
Welcome to the House Edge Sports Network, the pulse of youth sports.
What a great discussion. Thank you, Dan Lachance, for coming on the podcast and telling us a little bit about the Kanata Knights and what you've been doing with Mosquito Madness and Friday Night Tykes with all your wonderful staff and volunteers there at Kanata. These are the types of guys that we want involved with the league. We have tons of guys like Dan involved. That's why NCAFA is so successful. And again, I just want to thank him for his support of HESN over the years, and we really hope the best for his franchise this year. We'll be keeping a close eye on all the players and coaches and what the future has in store for the Kanata Knights. That is the second episode of the HESN podcast. This was another football show. Next episode, episode 3 of the HESN podcast, we're going to be doing a hockey show. We're going to be talking to Jeff Jordan. He is the head coach of the Kanata Lasers, midget AAA team and junior A team. He's a good friend of mine from the neighborhood where I grew up in. He has definitely earned the right to be the coach of the team that he is coaching right now, and I'm really excited to talk to him about what his expectations are for the Kanata Lasers going forward. After that, we hope to be right back on episode 4 with another football podcast, sort of previewing some of the stuff in NCAFA, and we'll have another great interview like we always do to try to keep the information flowing right to your ears and into your brain so you guys can always have local sports on your mind. My name is Tyler McLaren. My name is Tyler McLaren, and this was episode 2 of the HESN podcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and don't forget, go to HESN YouTube channel, subscribe, consume the content, tons of great videos. We got lots of great stuff up on there. We have great stuff coming from EPA as always. We are really excited to be doing what we're doing, and we want to thank you guys for all your support. Thank you very much. I'm Tyler McLaren. Peace.
Welcome to the House Edge Sports Network, the pulse of youth sports.